Good evening. Well then, today you and I are doing the self-fulfillment.
Well, the mastery of self-realization. We boldly raised the bar to talk a little more. Because if we talk about marketers, or people who do startups, or people who are constantly on the go, it's one story. But you and I are talking about something a little different.
Yes, and I'm quite interested to see how this specific period of life will be illuminated, because we're currently experiencing a very active transition between different eras. What's more, it's quite polarized, and the changes are occurring very unevenly. The era of AI, yes, much is becoming obsolete. In some places, things are actually stuck, blocked, and overall, going in the opposite direction. Somewhere, on the contrary, it just jumps, leaps, and bounds exponentially. And a person, somewhere in this polarity, now needs to find themselves, to agree that they are at this point, to understand at what point they are, how to navigate now, today. And what is truly relevant, what has already permanently lost its relevance, despite the fact that it's still moving forward purely by inertia.
All right, we'll start with the foundation. Everything for us is built on honesty, and then on the right values and priorities. So, if we start with honesty, the question is how deep it will be, and in all areas. And since it's, well, literally the year 26, this business issue will be resolved in the field of family relationships. Surprisingly, yes. And the extent to which all questions have been resolved there, the extent to which all topics are openly discussed, the extent to which there is deep trust, acceptance, and mutual understanding, that is the extent to which one can truly talk about what lies ahead. Because we're going to discuss some very fundamental things, but we will be tying it to what is happening right now. And currently, there's an incredible growth and a leap into a new information era. And if we truly wish to reach that point, it's essential for us to remain open to the unknown. What I mean is, it might even be dangerous in this situation to set specific goals for ourselves, or to define precise tasks. Because, as I've mentioned before, regarding the year 2026, when I was speaking about the forecast, we need to, well, let's say, stop acting in standard ways. And this we say to myself, to you, and to everyone around us. Because if we do not act and listen to intuition, and start to behave not inertly, not in a stereotyped way, well, we will have many questions, very many questions. And it will start to feel to us like we are slowly sinking into something that is called chaos. It's simply that we are entering new velocities, and new velocities bring a new reality. A new reality implies new principles, new laws, new forms of interaction, and new energy information channels through which we will operate. This means the old ways will no longer function, and this is the moment when we want to draw from the old, but the valve there has already been closed, because it's all done. It has served its purpose. Well, everyone retired, and we're trying to pump from there. And we could create such a vacuum that later, well, things will go badly for us. That's how it is. And that's precisely why, even though it's February right now, we decided to start this discussion on self-realization and achieving peak performance. Because February, as a month, brings with it such a high level of intensity, it's a heavy workload, it's an immense amount of information to process. And, as a rule, when there is an information overload, if we do not keep up, unpleasant things happen. And if we look at history, we will find that this period, well, the end of January, February, the beginning of March, there were many, well, such very intense events in the world. And this was due to the fact that we couldn't accommodate everything that was coming in. and then it begins to arrive through whatever channels are accessible. Well, it's like a river that, let's say, doesn't have the necessary flow rate for the amount of water that, for example, appeared due to heavy rainfall. And then it starts to spread and flow, well, let's say, into the city streets. And in some places, it overflows its banks. And so. And often this brings, well, to put it mildly, inconveniences, and in some cases, serious problems. And all of this is entirely connected to information. And furthermore, this information is new, useful, well-structured, and extremely effective. The only question for us is, why aren't we accepting it?
Actually, we have a question of this nature.
The reason is actually very simple. We are stuck in certain patterns. We find ourselves existing within certain fixed constants. We are under the powerful hypnosis of our very own beliefs. And when they show us where to go, and certain signs begin to manifest, intuition starts to emerge, a deeper sense of knowing arises, various ideas and thoughts come to us, but we often just pass them by because we are so completely caught up in our daily operations, because we have conditioned ourselves to focus solely on the execution of our everyday tasks, and these routine responsibilities completely consume all of our attention and energy. And the reason, as surprising as it may seem, is our goals and our desires, or the complete absence of any goals or desires. That's it. That's precisely where the reason lies. And frankly, both of these situations, let's just say, don't affect us very positively.
Well, in the business world, it's common to set goals, annual goals, lifetime goals, project goals, and overall profit goals. That's generally how it works. And
It works, but it's, like an approach we didn't know how and did it the way we thought was right. That's it. And if you dig deeper, we do have certain tools through which we interact with the world, and they are imperfect. What is it that we possess? It's our capacity for figurative thinking. We are equipped with a particular cognitive language model that encompasses a specific, finite set of words, through which we are able to formulate prompts for our own use or effectively articulate our thoughts and ideas. We possess our feelings, we experience our emotions, and we perceive our sensations. We are also equipped with our taste receptors and our olfactory senses, and we have a very clear, distinct purpose in life, a specific destination that we are truly meant to reach, which, in its very essence, ultimately defines our entire being and our fundamental nature. So, our physics, our DNA, and our genetics in general, they determine who we are going to be while we're here. This doesn't mean that we will necessarily become exactly that, but it does mean that we are predisposed to it. Well, figuratively speaking, some are hammers, some are chisels, and someone else is another tool. But by ourselves, we all came here as tools. That is, limited by a specific set of functions, and with pre-written scenarios, and with already established energy channels, with those people with whom we are meant to interact, and with those ideas and knowledge that are intended to enter this world through us.
so, if we already come with these knowledge, ideas, and our energy channels, then, ideally, we should be able to grasp all this new information on the fly.
We capture it. It's fully with us. You know how it is? There's a signal that comes to us, yes. And the key is its decoding.
Uh-huh. What do we have in the decoder?
What can we use to decipher? With our thoughts, with images, with feelings, with sensations, and with our int. Also with our internal states. But as a general rule, we typically don't do that. And the thing is, well, even I don't do it, not to the extent that I really should. And people know that there is such a concept as meditation, but they mostly misunderstand it because they think meditation is observing images, watching feelings and emotions. And then there's also a plus. There are clear principles that we articulate. And then, well, what limits us even more significantly is that we are with our eyes closed. I mean, these are the ones who, well, sort of meditate. Because then, I would have simply put this meditation aside and said, to truly align ourselves and accept all that is necessary, we need to disconnect from all of the operational processes in which we find ourselves, and to accept the information without knowing what its true nature is. So, just recently, I was updating my computer, the operating system, an update was installing. And at that moment, well, my screen went dark. An Apple logo lit up. Then there were some progress bars, and it said, "Do not disconnect from power." That's it. And it was only after some time had passed that he finally brightened up and declared, "All right, I'm ready now." I want to say that I, personally, when I started to look at this situation, it's like, the old saying, a shoemaker without shoes. I know all of this, but I very often find myself in a constant operational state. It's awesome for me. I work with information. I know some things. I can do some things. But I need to constantly update both the database and the tools, which are always evolving. If you take all the AIs now, they are updating so quickly that if you don't connect and update, you will be working on some outdated, hallucinating version, or one that doesn't understand you, or one with which it's very difficult to communicate, while the next one has already come out much better. So, when I asked myself the question literally a couple of days ago, I missed about 100 hours of loading. Yes, personally, I did.